Grab your popcorn. Welcome back, boys. Today, me and Anthony are gonna be reacting to the new Kraven the Hunter trailer that just came out earlier today. Um, Anthony here is very up to date on the character. I myself have not read any comics regarding the character. I don't know much about him outside of just like general info that I've seen around the internet. So for me, this is going to be my first introduction really into the character. Anthony, I'm sure you'll be able to fill me in a little more after we react to this trailer. But for now, I'm very excited. We're both huge Marvel fans. So let's just get right into it and see what this movie has in store for us.
Yeah, so let's dive into it. I will say Kraven's Last Hunt, one of my favorite comic book storylines of all time. I like Kraven. I love Spider-Man. And I heard that this movie is rated R. So I'm curious to see how dark they're going to go with it. And also if they're going to hint at the big question that everyone has with all these Venom-verse, Spider-Man, Sony movies. Who is the Spider-Man? Hopefully it's Andrew Garfield. But let's go ahead, watch the trailer, and react.
We are predators.
I didn't know Russell Crowe was in it.
Russell Crowe.
Boys. Shoot.
It's definitely rated R.
Like his mother. Leave him.
And that day,
I stared death in the face. There's 6 of you now.
why
I'm
do you
loving the
hunt?
violence.
My father. You don't get to do that to me anymore.
Fighters.
Mr. Taglin? Mr. Taglin? Where's Mr. Taglin?
Oh, you're standing in him.
Don't you want to know why they call me the Rhino?
We're going to get a proper Rhino.
Off the bat, that looks pretty sick. I'm not gonna lie. I'm excited. I'm cautiously optimistic because I think, Sony's track record with these Spider-Verse films like Morbius, the Venom movies are pretty hit or miss. They're just hit or miss in general. So I want to be cautious about this, but that looks really good. They're going rated R, which is something that they refuse to do with Venom for whatever reason. But Kraven is a character that I think needs to be done rated R. And Aaron Taylor Johnson is Kraven. He's an awesome actor. I loved him in Bullet Train. He was very funny in that. But also he looks the part. And I'm excited by this. It seems like they're deviating from the comics a little bit. To my knowledge, there's no powers associated with Kraven. He's just a good hunter who grew up a hunter. But they gave him some powers in this, and we'll see how that works in the context of the film. But first impressions, I'm pretty overwhelmingly positive with it. It looks like it's got that grit, that darkness, that violence that we all want. And there seems to be some pretty cool Spider-Man references. They're bringing the Rhino in. I'm curious as to how this is going to do, because right now it looks pretty good to me.
Yeah, I mean, it looked interesting, especially for someone like myself who knows extremely little about this character. I'm like still like a little confused about how his abilities work. Like we saw in the trailer, the lion like drop blood into his bloodstream, which I guess is giving him some sort of powers, which I would normally say is like a little weird, kind of like cliche and stupid. But then again, Peter Parker got his powers because he got bit by a spider. So who am I to say anything about that? But I like the actor. I didn't even recognize him at first, and then I realized it was Aaron Taylor Johnson, which great actor. So I have high hopes for that. Russell Crowe appeared. I wasn't expecting that either. So I don't know. Like it looked like a decent overall movie. I'd probably end up seeing it. I don't know much about the character again, but for a guy like me, I am intrigued. I will give it that.
Yeah, I'll definitely be seated to watch this one. Again, I'm optimistic, but I want to be cautious about it because these Sony adventures outside of the Spider-Verse movies, right, Into and Across the Spider-Verse, those are excellent, but all these extra Spider-Man related movies that they've made, they haven't been that great. And so I'm cautious to say that I'm really optimistic about it, but that trailer almost blew me in away in a sense because it looks like it's such a higher quality standard than we've seen from these other Spider related movies. And again, I love Aaron Taylor Johnson. I didn't know that Russell Crowe was going to be in it. He looks like he's going to be interesting. I guess he's Kraven's father, is what it was looking like. But the action looked sick. The violence looked fun. I think that it being rated R is going to work to its benefit. Maybe not in the box office, but to my overall enjoyment with it, should help the movie. And again, the big question that's going to pop out, like it has with all of these, who is the Spider-Man of this universe? We saw spiders, as you pointed out, Eric. There were some spiders in that trailer. So once again, hinting that there is a spider looming at large. And of course, there was the post-credit scene at Morbius where Michael Keaton's Vulture says, I want to go take out Spider-Man. But overall, that's the question that they keep setting up. And I'm wondering if Kraven will finally deliver the answers to who Spider-Man is and where he is in this storyline.
Yeah, I mean, a couple of things there. Russell Crowe in the movie as the father, based on like the tone of that trailer and what we saw, it kind of looks like he's being set up to be the villain. Where like throughout this Sony-Verse, like the anti-heroes, I guess, that we're following are villains. Venom, now Kraven the Hunter. So I would assume that like throughout the trailer we saw, Kraven was like mauled by a lion, left for dead. The dad just like was like, oh, whatever, he's weak, let's leave him. So I would have to assume that the plot of the movie is going to be Kraven, I guess, trying to get revenge on his father for abandoning him. If I had to guess, as like a film guy, I mean, who knows though? Marvel trailers are extremely misleading, so I could be extremely wrong on this, but that's where I would have to guess where the film is going. As for the Spider-Man thing, it's interesting because I'll be completely transparent here. I haven't seen either of the Venom films, so I don't know much about them. Just if you guys want me to react to them, let me know. But so far, as far as I'm aware, there's been 2 Venom movies, and then now Kraven is the only other one, right? Is there anything else besides Into the
The
Spider-Verse?
Morbius movie. The Morbius movie sticks out like a sore thumb as being one of the worst creations of the last 5 years. So
Yeah, I it's so bad I forgot it existed. But if I'm at Sony and I'm thinking like, what am I building here? Like a Sony-Verse Spider-Man thing. We've got then Venom, Morbius, and now Kraven. We're at 3. Are they going for the Sinister Six before they make a Spider-Man?
it looks to me like they are, because I will say they had the post-credit scene of Vulture at the end of Morbius where he
And
asks
now,
to team up.
and now they're hinting at Rhino,
Right. So
which is
what's that
5.
give us? 5. So we're almost there. And then they have a couple other films in development. There's the El Muerto film, El Muerto, and
I've
then
never
there's
even heard of
the
that.
Madame Web film. Those are supposed to come out sometime next year. We'll see what those entail. But overall, it looks like they're building some sort of a Sinister Six, and not necessarily the best A-list lineup, though. I think Sinister Six, I think Green Goblin, Doc Ock, those guys. But I
All
guess we'll see what they build
characters.
here.
Yeah, I mean, like I fully agree. When you think Sinister Six, you think of those characters, but with them now being prominent in the MCU, how much can they really do with them without making it stale? Or I don't even know how like legally it would work.
Right.
Like who owns
I-
the rights to them? And like we just had a movie with basically a Sinister Six. I think there were 5 villains in that movie.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it was all the big ones. It was like Doc Ock, Green Goblin, Sandman, like everyone pretty much. So I think if Sony wants to have something fresh that'll attract viewers, I think maybe having a new lineup would be somewhat beneficial. I don't know anything about Kraven, but after that trailer, I want to know more. I haven't seen the Venom movies. I'm probably going to get some hate for that, but like I know Venom. Everyone knows who Venom is, and I want to see them. Maybe I'll watch one later tonight. I don't know. So I think it'd be cool to see all these characters come together.
Yeah, the Venom movies are all right. Again, I wish that they were given the rated R tag that Kraven got. They'd be so much better if they were. Venom is a very violent character, and they've refused to make him the lethal protector because they don't want to make it rated R. But maybe this will set a new standard if this performs at the box office. Who knows? Maybe the next Venom film will also be rated R, and then we can kind of get a darker take on this Sony-verse, and that would be interesting. But overall, I like the trailer. I'm excited. I'll definitely be seated to watch the movie, and we'll see how it goes. But I'm, again, very cautiously optimistic.
Yeah, I mean, again, I guess that also applies to me. Cautiously optimistic is a good way to put it. Where um, Marvel and like superhero and comic book movies, they tend to be very 50-50. They're either really really good, or you're like, why did I just waste 2 hours of my life watching that? There's really not that many mediocre comic book movies, so I'm excited for it. I like to think that Sony has somewhat of a plan to put together the Sinister Six, and then hopefully see Andrew Garfield. He is my personal favorite Spider-Man. I don't think he's the best Spider-Man, but he's my personal favorite. So like I would like to see him return. But it looks like we got a little bit of time. Did you happen to catch, when does this movie come out? I don't know. We just watched the trailer. I didn't even look for a date.
Yeah, this movie releases on October 6th of this year, so it's right around the corner.
Yeah, very, very soon. Hopefully this fall we'll be around to cover it really, and fully dive deep into the universe. By then I promise you I will have watched the Venom movies, and I will force myself to watch Morbius. So I'll be all caught up to date on this universe that they're building. But Anthony, before we head out, after the trailer, just any final thoughts? And out of 10, how excited are you to watch this movie?
Out of 10, how excited am I? I'd give myself probably, I'd go 8 flat here because, again, I'm cautiously optimistic, but the trailer looked kick-ass, and I personally have a soft spot for the character of Kraven. Like, I love that character. I love Kraven's Last Hunt. So I'm really hopeful that they're going to do him justice and make a good movie here. So I'm excited. Now, how good do I think it's going to be? Again, I'm pretty 50-50 on that because these Sony-verse films have been very, very hit or miss. But excitement is there for me. I will be seated to watch this without a doubt, but we'll see ultimately what the final product ends up being.
Yeah. And I guess for me, just like final thoughts, I remember after Far From Home came out, and then before like No Way Home even had a title, there were a lot of rumors and speculation on the internet that Kraven might be the villain of the third installment of the Spider-Man trilogy in the MCU. So I didn't know much about him. I did like very basic general research about the character. Obviously, it didn't end up being Kraven as a villain. We had our iteration of the Sinister Five, I guess, and I'm happy it went that way. But I'm very excited to finally be able to have the opportunity to watch a live action movie about Kraven and like really get to learn and understand more about this character. I'm very new to comic book movies. I didn't start watching Marvel until Infinity War came out, and I was like, oh, what's the hype about? Now I'm like somewhat well versed on everything. But I guess overall level of excitement, I'm not going to go as high as you, again, because I don't know that much about the character. I can't be like as excited as I would be if it were just like a fourth Tom Holland Spider-Man movie. But again, I like to think that Sony knows what they're doing. Seems like a cool concept. I'll give it a flat 7.
Good scores all around, I think. And so, yeah, I mean, I'm excited. And whenever the movie comes out, we'll, of course, review it, grab our popcorn, and discuss. So that's pretty much that. But love to hear your thoughts on the trailer and on our episode down below in the comment section. So subscribe to all that good stuff, grab your popcorn, and get seated for the next video on the channel.